Hi, I hope you're having a good day today. Thanks for spending some time with me. We're going to look at the Liberty Fanfare by John Williams. This was composed specifically for the rededication of the Statue of Liberty. I think it was a 100-year anniversary. And I think John would agree it's wonderful to have an opportunity to celebrate these kind of occasions and to have the gifts to express the feelings in music. And that's what he spent his whole life doing. And those of us who are musicians, who are pursuing our musical expression as a way we speak to the world, it's a real inspiration to have this music to play. There are some challenges in it, and we'll address some of those today, but I'll just play the opening of it and then a few spots in the fanfare. So one of the first things you'll notice in John's music, but it's present in a lot of symphonic music, is crescendi and decrescendi. So you have this weight on a note, and then you let it come back, kind of release it, and then come forward again. So just practicing that, trying to maintain the quality of your sound, maintain a sense of easy control, is kind of one of the basics of playing orchestral music. Of course, here it's happening in the upper register. And as is typical with many of John's parts, trumpet parts, he uses the upper register freely. And so if you're finding it difficult to play in this register, please do not push yourself and cause strain. That doesn't really accomplish anything. You can take these things down and practice for the qualities of the music and really accomplish a lot. What I've done in my past, and what I notice a lot of my students do, is trying too hard, playing things over and over again, repeating until you get fatigued. And that's a good way to build bad habits, but not much else. So we want to build something good here. I'm going to skip down. This is, by the way, this is out of a book that I've shown you in other episodes. Called Signature Editions, and these are excerpts from John's trumpet parts. They're available for other instruments as well. Let me take this. You play this opening lick. Let's see. I'll go ahead and do that. The first thing that you play after the introduction. So it's a little rough because I'm getting tight because I'm trying too hard. In other words, I'm going, I'm tonguing really hard, I'm pushing the air hard. So as I've mentioned previously, and I do this a lot, especially with large intervals, because in this piece you have that figure which you hear over and over again. So for me, the challenge, the thing I'm concentrating on in terms of physical control, is instead of can I stay open? Can the tongue stay soft? Can the throat let go? Can the support kick in and carry the air so I just feel like I'm leaning on the air, like I'm sitting on it? When those things are happening, and if you're an experienced player, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're questioning what I'm talking about, then you need to experience it for yourself, and you will if you continue to work on your playing. But it's the delicate balance between the amount of airflow necessary to play the trumpet, which is not substantial, and the amount of air pressure and velocity that are necessary. And we think that blowing harder gets the job done. And I fall back into that habit all the time because, possibly like some of you, I spent my youth playing too high, too loud, too long, and developed a lot of bad habits as a result. So now I'm in the process, in my old age, of trying to reverse all that damage. Let's see if I can give you a decent representation of the next section. This is important because you have all the same elements that I just played, but it's much more extended in length, and it ends on a concert D. So I find that I have to stay with it. I have to be aware. I can't just play this without thinking. So let's see if I can muster enough mental energy to get through this. This is the this is the third bar after number 27. I was thinking a little bit too much on that. I was thinking about the D, and I think for many of you this probably will be an issue. You may have noticed when you're practicing a piece, and let's take the Haydn Concerto for example, and if you're playing it on a B flat and you have the high E flat. The fact that we call it a high E flat, well, it is, but it's actually just a note. But we have a psychological thing, it's a high note, and it's an E flat above high C. And I remember playing that when I was in high school and making it happen. So some of you might be in the same position. I kind of forced out that D, but it was mostly psychological. I'm perfectly able to play that comfortably. And I know that because I demonstrate to myself every day. But there's a psychological thing, it's like, am I gonna make it? You know, you see what I'm talking about? And so in anticipation, I already started tightening up. And if you were listening carefully, you could hear on the da-ga-da-ga-dum, da-ga-da-ga-dum, I'm really not staying open because I'm already thinking about, I'm gonna have to really go after that D instead of just trusting and maintaining the flow and trusting that I know how to do it. Now, of course, if you demonstrate to yourself over and over again that you don't know how to do it, in other words, that you fail over and over again to do it, this does not help your playing. So you need to find something that you can do, take satisfaction in, that is a step toward being able to play in this register. One of the issues that comes up here in this piece and in a fair amount of John's music is you're double tonguing, but you're double tonguing at the top of the staff on a C trumpet. So now we're kind of double tonguing in the upper register, and double and triple tonguing, multiple tonguing, are great. It's a great test of how balanced your approach to trumpet playing is. Because if I just play that last section again, let's see. Now, as I try and double tongue, instead of, so you're trying to maintain that fluid character and that immediacy in the response and the quality in the sound. Those are the main elements. That character of flow, the beauty and the quality of the sound, and the instantaneous burst of sound in the attack. And that's done actually by balancing your system and relaxing, not by pushing harder. So many people would be playing it something like this. So we're holding pressure. And when we release the pressure with the tongue, which is perfectly fine, we're not maintaining the flow, we're not maintaining the connection between the blower, the bellows, as Claude Gordon would say, and the aperture. There's something in between. Instead of it's a delicate balance. I've always felt that trumpet playing is a lot like gymnastics. What I mean is that you have to do very precise movements, and you have to have a great deal of strength in order to do those movements with precision, balance, and grace, even beauty. And it's a wonderful thing. It's very, very much like trumpet playing. The difference is what we're doing is micro gymnastics. We're doing gymnastics with our tongue, with these tiny muscles in the lips and in the face. It's an amazing thing, but it's very much like gymnastics. At least that's the way I think about it. So just like in gymnastics, you have to build a foundation, do basic movements, and gradually progress until you're at the point where you can play at the Olympic level. Like in the last Fanfare I just played a couple of minutes ago, the Olympic Fanfare. So I wasn't happy with the way the D sounded, and I'm going to reassure myself that I can play a D comfortably. Or maybe I won't, but at least I'm going to try it. So I'm going to start down in the bottom register. And it says, when you play it in context, crescendo possibile. That means get as loud as you can. Now, I don't know about you, but most trumpet players find that, and if you actually measure yourself, if you use a tuner or a decibel meter, you'll see that the intensity of the sound, the actual power of the sound, tends to decrease as you go into the upper register. Now, for people who play wide open, with a wide open aperture, if you can supply enough airflow, you can play with tremendous power in the upper register, and that's what great commercial lead players do. So this is a skill that you have to develop with a systematic approach. If you want to take a look at some of my other videos along these lines, you can look at what I call the Beasts series, which is a set of 4 books by Matt Franke. And he is a very fine commercial lead player. And when I saw the books, I realized, oh, this guy understands what's necessary for a trumpet player in order to be able to do the job. You have to have these skills, and this is how to build them and maintain them every day. Of course, the exercises themselves don't do the trick. It's how you apply them, and that's where it takes a fair amount of wisdom. Now, that theme repeats throughout the piece, and then there's another theme. So I'll just play that one for you. It's pretty straightforward, and you hear it quite a few times. So you get the idea. You can tell I'm breathing. Yeah, there's a lot of engagement. I think that's one thing that many of us like about the trumpet. It's a very visceral instrument. It requires you feel like you're really engaging with something. It's not delicate, but the irony of it is, just like I mentioned with gymnastics, it takes a tremendous amount of delicate control. Another thing which you may want to consider, especially if you are familiar with the sport, is trumpet playing is a lot like golf. So you have everything from the complete full body motion of a swing to drive the ball, down to the most delicate control necessary with a putt, and everything in between. And it's just fascinating. It's fascinating mind-body work. So that's kind of what we're doing when we play this piece. So give yourself time. And build something from the simpler forms up until you can get comfortable and have the satisfaction of an enjoyment of playing with a great musical result. Okay, I think it's time to go practice. I know I need to practice, so I'll see you later on. Join me when you have some more time. Bye-bye.